Have you ever stopped and wondered what is actually happening inside a tool like ChatGPT? You type in a question, and like magic, an answer appears. But it's not magic. It's technology, and it's incredibly complex. So in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify how these large language models, or LLMs, really work. To get our heads around us, let's start with a question that really gets to the heart of the matter. Is an AI like ChatGPT just a really, really sophisticated parrot? It's a powerful analogy, so let's unpack it.
The fancy term for this idea is a stochastic parrot. Now, stochastic sounds complicated, but it just means it's based on probability. So a stochastic parrot is basically a system that's amazing at mimicking human language by figuring out the next most likely word, all without truly understanding what any of it means. And at its very core, that is what an LLM does.
Okay, so if it's all about prediction, how does this sophisticated mimicry actually work in practice? Let's dive into that process. A great way to think about it is like you're finishing a movie script. The AI reads all the dialogue that came before, and its only job is to predict the single most probable word to come next. Just one word. Then it adds that word to the script, reads the whole thing again, and predicts the next most probable word. It just keeps doing that over and over, building out a response one word at a time. That's really the whole trick. Now, what's so wild about this is how it represents a fundamental shift in how we tell computers what to do. Traditional programming is all about giving the computer a super detailed, explicit set of rules. If this happens, do that. But with machine learning, we flip that on its head. We don't write the rules. We just show the computer millions of examples and say, here, you figure out the pattern. We're not teaching it what to do, we're teaching it how to learn. And that learning process, it happens on a scale that is almost impossible for us to wrap our heads around. So how exactly does an LLM go from just a pile of raw data to being able to have a conversation with you? Well, the secret ingredient is data. Just massive, unbelievable amounts of it. LLMs are trained on a huge portion of the internet. Think about it. Wikipedia, countless books, news articles, websites, Reddit threads, basically a giant chunk of everything humans have ever written down and put online. To try and put the sheer computational effort into perspective, just look at this number for a second. Over 100 million years. So, what is that? Well, that's how long it would take you, calculating nonstop, 24/7, to do all the math required to train just one of these big models. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And that is why we call them large language models. The scale is just immense. Now, this training process isn't just one big free-for-all. It actually happens in three main stages. First, there's pre-training. That's where the model just reads all that internet data to learn grammar, facts, and how to reason. Next up is fine-tuning, where it's trained on a smaller, higher-quality dataset to learn how to actually follow instructions. And finally, there's something called reinforcement learning with human feedback, or RLHF. That's just a fancy way of saying real humans look at its answers and rank them, which teaches it to be more helpful and, well, less of a jerk. But all this computing power and data would be useless without a key technological breakthrough. And that brings us to the revolutionary architecture that unlocked everything we're seeing today. I mean, we've had chatbots for decades, right? Some of the first ones, like Eliza, were back in the 60s. But for a long time, progress was pretty slow. Then, in 2017, everything changed. Researchers at Google published a paper called Attention is All You Need, and it introduced the transformer. That was the spark that lit the fire. A few years later, we got GPT-3, and then the ridiculously massive GPT-4. So what's the big deal with the transformer? Why was it such a game changer? Well, older models had to read text one word at a time, in order. The transformer can look at all the words in a sentence at the exact same time. This lets it weigh the importance of every single word in relation to every other word, which gives it a much, much deeper understanding of context. Okay, so that's the theory. But what does this incredibly powerful technology actually let us do? Let's take a look at how LLMs are being used in the real world right now. Honestly, the applications are exploding. They're being used for everything from drafting articles and marketing emails to generating really complex software code. They're the brains behind those customer service chatbots that give you instant answers. They can summarize a 100-page report in seconds or provide incredibly nuanced language translations. Basically, if a task involves understanding or creating text, LLMs are changing the game. But as powerful and amazing as these models are, we have to be honest. They are far from perfect. It's absolutely crucial that we understand their limits and the very real challenges they still face.
LLMs have some pretty major blind spots. First, they can hallucinate, which is a nice way of saying they confidently make stuff up. Since they learn from the internet, they also learn all of our human biases and can even amplify them. Their knowledge is frozen in time. They don't know anything that's happened since their training data was collected. And at the end of the day, they still lack genuine understanding and can really struggle with complex reasoning.
This is a perfect, almost funny example of what a hallucination actually looks like. A person asks a dead simple question, just count the letters. The AI has all the info it needs right in front of it, but it gets it wrong. And it says the wrong answer with total, unwavering confidence. It's a great reminder that it's not thinking or reasoning. It's just matching patterns. And sometimes it matches the wrong one. So what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that LLMs are incredibly powerful pattern matching engines, tools unlike anything we've ever had before. But they are not conscious thinking beings. They are transforming entire industries, for sure, but we always have to approach their outputs with a healthy dose of critical thinking and, actually check their work. And I want to leave you with this one last thought, which is kind of a mind bender. As amazing and as flawed as these models are today, this is just the beginning. The technology is moving forward at an unbelievable speed. That means, as cool as this all seems right now, this is probably the worst, the dumbest, the least capable this technology will ever be again. What that future looks like? Well, we're all about to find out together.